This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Pensacola State Today. Today we are going to be talking about Pensacola State College's partnership with local manufacturers, and we'll talk about why that's important not only to local industry but also to students. Also, we'll talk about Skills USA, preparing students to fill jobs in the community now and in the future, and honoring PSC instructors for excellence in the classroom. Pensacola State College has a number of partnerships with business and community organizations in our area. One of those is a partnership with the Northwest Florida Manufacturers Council, and it's an important one, and we're going to find out why on today's episode of Pensacola State Today. Joining us in the studio, Dr. Ed Meadows, who is the president of Pensacola State College, and also Dan Bussey, who is the Dean of Workforce Education for PSC, and Cindy Anderson, who is the executive director of the Northwest Florida Manufacturers Council. And thank you to all of you for being with us today to talk about such an important topic.
Glad to be here.
I guess, Cindy, let's start with you. How did the council come to be, and what is the council's mission?
Well, about 3 years ago, Stan Conley with Gulf Power and Alan Benz over in Bay County decided that one of the governor's main missions was to increase manufacturing. And with that in mind, they decided what could we do in Northwest Florida to actually improve the success of manufacturing. So instead of trying to figure it out themselves, they went and asked the manufacturers. And the one topic that came up consistently was workforce development, that with the baby boomers retiring, they anticipate in the next 4 to 5 years needing about 5,000 people to replace them. And those people have evolved with the technology, and now there's no entry-level positions that have the skill sets that the manufacturers need. So the council was developed with the main mission of workforce development for the entry-level positions for manufacturing.
Okay, Dan Bussey, you are the Dean of Workforce Development for Pensacola State College. How did the council influence the high school manufacturing programs?
Well, during the course of our discussions with the manufacturers, one of the things that came up over and over again, as Cindy indicated, was the lack of skilled talent walking in the door. As such, we worked with the council, the college did, we worked with the high schools, not only here in Escambia County, but along the Gulf Coast, to ensure that those high school programs line up to what the manufacturers need. Not only did we do that, we also revamped our program to take advantage of some articulation agreements and to ensure that what's learned in high school is not duplicated with our manufacturing programs, that it's complemented. So the students have now a very smooth progression from going with no skills to a set of skills that can be readily used in the business world, in the manufacturing world. So they walk in the door with a set of skills that are proven.
Okay. Dr. Meadows, what is the importance and the value of Pensacola State College's partnership in this effort?
Well, a very large number of our programs deal with training entry-level workers for manufacturing. And certainly if there's a re-emphasis on recruiting manufacturers to Northwest Florida, then the college, through its planning process, needs to know what those plans are for expansion of existing manufacturers, as well as bringing in additional different kinds of manufacturers to the region. And whenever you allocate resources, you want to use your resources wisely. So our participation with members of the Manufacturers Council ensures that we will know what their plans are so that we can adjust our plans to coincide and complement what they're doing.
Okay. Dan, what are the benefits to the students that earn this, this industry credential? What does it do for them?
Two things. The first one is the industry credential that we're working on, that the Manufacturer Council and the manufacturers told us that they want students having, or potential employees having, is something called the CPT, the Certified Production Technician. That credential ensures that the individuals who hold it have the skill sets on a national level that manufacturers want, including the local manufacturers as well. not only do they have a skill set, but it allows the students to take advantage of an articulation agreement that's throughout the state. So if you have that CPT in your hand, the college will give you 15 credit hours towards our AS degree in advanced manufacturing. So we want those individuals to obtain that credential, whether it's in high school or whether it's through one of our continuing workforce programs. That credential is valuable, not only for a ticket to get into the door of an employment office of a manufacturer, but also when you come to the college and you want to continue your education to receive the degree, we're going to award 15 credit hours to our AS degree. So it is something that a high school student really should think about earning, as well as an individual who's looking to start in the manufacturing. That ticket, if you will, is really like an entryway into manufacturing.
Yeah, Cindy, do you add to that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one of the things that we're seeing a transition with the post-secondary is the fact that the post-secondary and the secondary with these academies that are in manufacturing, they're looking towards the industry sector leaders, those people who are in manufacturing, and saying, what skill set do you need? As opposed to, we've got these curriculums and we're going to teach you that and then send you out to the workforce. They're asking the manufacturers, is this what we need? And we had some manufacturers go into one of the high school academies last week, and the manufacturers were looking at the curriculum and listening to the kids and what they were learning, and they were just amazed that this is exactly what we need them to know. The safety, the precision, the metrics, everything. And with the partnership that we have with PSC, where they can take that and then continue to climb that progression ladder. That's one thing with manufacturing. You can have high schoolers go in all the way up to PhD levels, and manufacturing uses all of those levels of education.
So this partnership is of great value to the local manufacturers.
Oh yeah. Very, very much so, because right now, it is an anecdote, they say that they always give employees tests when they come in, and they will have people come in and they're going to take the test to be entry-level manufacturers, and they'll lay a rod down on the middle of the table, and they have to give them the, how long is it? And they can get 5 different people and 5 different answers. Things that used to be considered common sense with our generation is not necessarily common sense with the new generation.
Okay. And Dr. Go ahead, Dan.
I
You
was
can
just going
add.
to say, again, that skill set, we listened. That's a key point here. We listened to those manufacturers, and we revamped our program in order to ensure that the product that we're putting out, our students who are completing our programs, have the skill sets that they need. One of the things that came up over and over again during the course of these discussions was, we have positions that are currently open. We have jobs available. The problem is we can't find people with the skill set to fill those positions. Our goal is to ensure that the students are successful, and we absolutely want the manufacturing sector in Northwest Florida to blossom and to grow. It's critical for our local economy. Although we have the wonderful beaches and the military, we have healthcare, manufacturing by far is one of the largest sectors that can infuse enormous juice into our local economy.
Okay. And Dr. Meadows, we're talking, both Cindy and Dan have talked about the importance of listening to what the manufacturers need and then adjusting. And the college does a really good job of being in good communication with the industries in our community. And this is a good example of it, right?
I think this is an excellent example, and you know, we've got to commend the governor for his vision in realizing that you need seed money to get organized, and then we have to thank the leadership of Stan Conley and Alan Bentz for taking this on to get it started. But after it gets started and the people that initiated it step back, then you have to have people, you know, like Ms. Anderson, and also Greg Britton, who's the current chair with Fort Walton Machining, and our local industry-based leaders that continue to sit at the table and have input into what their workforce needs, because it's in one sense a special interest to them, because if they are having to spend an inordinate amount of time training people once they get to the workforce, that decreases their productivity. So all of this working together with secondary schools, post-secondary education, working with local industry, to understand, you know, where we need to take our students in terms of skills, and not just technical skills, but also soft skills as well, is a great benefit to Northwest Florida as it moves forward in developing further its manufacturing industry.
Okay, so someone's watching today and they're thinking, or maybe a parent's watching and they're thinking, this child, how does an individual get started in a career in manufacturing?
The first thing we would like them to do is to give us a call. 484-1158 is my extension, or they can call the 484-1000 and ask for the Applied Technology Department, and we'll get them started. We would love to show off our high-tech equipment. We have the largest number of CNC machines in the entire Southeast. We are upgrading those to 5-axis. Again, we're spending significant amounts of money in order to ensure that we are meeting the demands of the local businesses. We would love to have more people in our program, and more importantly, have those individuals who complete our program go to work and actually have a great living. And many people who have this kind of vision of what manufacturing is, that's not the way it is anymore. It's not dirty, it is not overly repetitive, it is high tech, high wage, high skill.
Would love for parents to pay a little more attention. They talk about people don't sit around the dinner table anymore going, gosh, you know, Johnny, you should be going into manufacturing, because they just don't think of it in the way that it's offered right now. And it is a very profitable industry, and we're hoping that, you mentioned parents, we're hoping that the parents are going to start looking a little bit more at manufacturing as well.
Well, everything changes, and it sounds like in this case it's a change definitely for the better, and if not for the better, at least keeping up with the way the world is moving.
This is not your grandfather's manufacturing.
That's right.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for being with us. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, more from Pensacola State Today. Welcome back to the program. In this segment, we are going to talk about Skills USA. Now, Skills USA has been a part of the Pensacola State Today program from time to time in the past. There's some exciting information and news coming out of Skills USA, though, that we want to talk about. And joining us in the studio today are Jennifer Ponson and LaQuisha Lee, who have lots of information about Skills USA to talk about, and also Dr. Ed Meadows, who is the president of Pensacola State College. Welcome to all of you right now. Okay, so Skills USA essentially, let's see, how can I put this? Showcases the skills and talents of students from across the nation and throws them into a competition arena, which is really exciting. If you've ever attended a Skills USA competition, you know what I'm talking about, because I've been there, and it's so exciting to see these students using their skills and talents and showcasing all that they've learned. Jennifer, that's just like a really quick synopsis. You know a lot more about Skills USA. Tell us, what is Skills USA?
Well, Skills USA is an opportunity for students to not only learn more about the profession in which they seek, but other careers that are available to them. Skills USA partners with the business and industry side so that we can have a skilled workforce. We work with the students through the Skills USA program development, so they'll learn about the workplace skills, technical skills, and also personal skills through the professional development program that they offer.
What are some of the careers that are represented in Skills USA?
Culinary, we have all of the construction careers that are available with HVAC, electrical, plumbing. We have in the health arena, we have dental hygiene, we have the areas for nursing, all the different career fields.
And it's not just hard skills that students learn through Skills USA. They also learn those all too important soft skills.
They do, and they learn those, they actually pick up with those skills in the different competitions that they're working on. So they prepare with preparing a resume, and then they have their interviewing skills that they work with. But they also learn about how to tell an individual about their field itself. So when they go into a home and they're telling someone what they're going to be working on in their electrical field, they'll learn how to communicate with all of the customers that they are connecting with.
And so they learn these skills, and then they come together for various competitions, regional, state, national. Tell us a little bit about these competitions, and I'm going to talk to you about what it's meant to you, and Dr. Meadows about the involvement with Pensacola State College.
Well, we first start with an in-house competition, so we have all of the students that are seeking to compete in their particular area, whether it be leadership or technical skill, and we'll have an in-house competition which will narrow down the individuals to 3 students. They will move on from our region, extends from Pensacola to Tallahassee. So all of those schools do the same thing around November. Okay. And then we meet again to have our competition in February for the top 3 in whatever chosen field. If they win at that level, first, second, or third place, we move on to state conference. And from there, the first place winners move on to nationals.
Okay, so it's exciting and heady stuff. Dr. Meadows, we'll jump over here to you real quickly because we talked about the state competitions. What's Pensacola State College's involvement, and what's the importance of maybe having these competitions in Pensacola, which I know we have had?
Right. Well, of course, Jennifer Ponson being involved in HOSA before she became involved in Skills USA was the ideal person to select to get the college involved in Skills USA as a student organization. Mm-hmm. And we also discovered that there was a need for leadership to host the Region 1 competition. So we've been doing that for about 8 years. And then we decided that what better opportunity could Northwest Florida have than to compete for the state conference, which would not only showcase our students in their own communities where they might get a job, but also showcase Northwest Florida to the entire state of Florida, which would eventually lead to a $10 million economic impact for the 3 years that we hosted back starting in 2012. And of course, we now have won the state competition beginning in 2018 for 3 years. Okay. And that will have even a greater economic impact for Northwest Florida, since we've also added middle school competitions in addition to the high school competitions. So, you know, it also highlights to not just the state of Florida, but also the region that we're in, the collaborative nature of business and industry with education, because many of these students will be competing at different businesses and industries in partnership with business and industries, actually sending people that actually judge the competitions. And Sandy Sansing's Automotive or Harley Davidson, where they go there and actually paint or repair. Mm-hmm. So it's a wonderful promotional opportunity for Northwest Florida to show the eagerness of business and industry here to partner with education to help with the workforce demands of Northwest Florida and the region and the state.
And a wonderful opportunity for students to be able to, as you talked about, going out to a car automobile dealership or whatever the business might be, and to get to meet the business and industry leaders. And so, LaQuisha Lee, you have participated in Skills USA. Talk to me about what you did and what you learned from it and what it's done for you.
I had the opportunity to do some research with dental hygiene. I'm a dental hygiene student. And we've done the research, we created a board, and then we present. And in presenting, you have time, you have to have a resume, and you have to have good presentation skills. And what it's done for me is to learn time management and to focus, and to be able to get information across to people that may not really understand anything about dental hygiene, or just educate other people about things that I know, things that I've learned from my program.
How much farther down the road do you think you are in terms of your career path because of Skills USA?
Because of Skills USA, I feel like I'm more prepared. I feel like I have a better work ethic. Everybody in my family is a worker, and so just having that background and then incorporating it with Skills USA, it allows us to learn teamwork and how to deal with others, how to meet others, and then how to communicate with them. And so about it.
Now, I have been to these competitions, and they are high energy.
Yes.
So talk to me, too, about maybe other opportunities in terms of meeting other, I mean, it's a great opportunity to meet other people who are like-minded or maybe not, but that help you to grow as you seek your career path.
Yeah, as meeting other people, meeting people that want to learn is what's, I guess, more important to me. If I see something that this person may be presenting or talking about, then we can ask and we can talk about what their process and their research, and then we can kind of compare and we can talk. And it's just been fun doing skills.
Well, we're running a little tight on time. Jennifer, I did want to ask you, as someone who's watched a lot of students come through Skills USA, what do you see as the value of this opportunity for these students?
Well, I think it helps build that. It's the perfect trifecta, if you will, of building a student's confidence and their workplace skills, personal skills. It just combines everything, and it allows them to be the best that they can be. And we want that. We are looking to help these students to be successful in life and to have every advantage that they can to move forward and give them the experiences that it takes to get there.
Now, if a student or a local business wants more information, wants to know how they can get involved, what should they do?
Well, they can certainly give me a call, 850-484-2245, and we'll be able to connect and get them involved. We have committees that work together to help bring the best for all of our students.
Great. All right. Any last thoughts on Skills USA, Dr. Meadows, and how awesome it is for this community, the students, and the nation, really? It's a great organization.
Well, I think it's one of the driving forces to the future of our future workforce. Without Skills USA, we would have, I think, less of a cohesive, organized focus on what our future needs are in our future workforce. And of course, I'd like to commend all of our local business and industries that have partnered with us in the past and shown great leadership, not only in the regional competitions and helping us financially and also providing judges, but also in the state initiative. And you know, we've just had a great team in Northwest Florida of business and industry leaders that realize the importance of the pipeline for a good quality workforce. And with people like Lakeisha, she will represent us well at the state conference. And
absolutely.
With people like Jennifer, we know that she is going to be behind the scenes making great things happen for our students.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for being with us today and to talk about Skills USA. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Pensacola State College is blessed with many talented instructors. Some of them were recently honored for excellence in the classroom. Let's meet a couple of them, Mr. Michael Johnston and Dr. Elizabeth Mosley.
My name is Mike Johnston, and I've been teaching for approximately 9 years now. I am from Stuart, Florida, and I went to undergrad at the University of Miami, and I finished there in 2005 with a bachelor's degree in engineering. I worked afterwards at the Miami Center to Cure Paralysis, and then started graduate school several years later and finished that at University of West Florida with a master's degree in math and statistics. My teaching career is a little different. I'm a part-time instructor, so I do this and I do several other things, but as a part-time instructor, it allows me opportunities to be involved in the community and have other jobs. Teaching was actually a serendipitous career, so I did that accidentally. I ran into my department chair and I met her at a function in Pensacola, my first department chair, who was Wanda Cook, and she asked about my education, and she was curious if I would ever be interested in teaching. I told her I would love to entertain the opportunity, and that's how I started teaching 9 years ago. So I've been doing that ever since. I believe in the Socratic method of education. I think it's important to be able to ask a student a question and then for them to entertain an answer verbally. I think that we see that form of education in so many pragmatic fields of science, and often it's not used in a lecture format. So if I'm able to ask a question of the students and they're able to respond correctly, and I can correct them if they're wrong, I think that they're learning and they're achieving a higher standard of education. I'm always learning not necessarily more about math and science, but I'm learning more about the pedagogy of education and how to adapt my ways of teaching to making sure the students have accessibility to learn. So I record my lectures so they're able to watch the lectures at any given time, at any given place. If a student's not able to make it to class for some reason, whether or not it's personal or it's employee related, I let them attend virtually from anywhere, so that way they're not actively missing the lecture so they don't fall behind. One of the difficulties of teaching a one-day-a-week course, especially in math, is that if you miss 3 hours of mathematics, you tend to miss a chapter, you tend to miss a lot of material, so you come back and you feel, the student feels like they're strangulated, that they don't have the ability to bounce back. So I think providing these resources allows them to. It's neat to be able to see your students. It's neat to see these different walks of life come into your classroom and then eventually leave, and it's nice to follow their careers. That's probably the best outcome of teaching, is that, 4 or 5 years down the road, you see that they're now matriculating into medical school, or they're matriculating into a ARNP program, or they're starting a engineering master's degree. So you see this, you see them get their first jobs, and you see them get their first contracted salary, you see them get their first health benefit, and that's exciting. So being part of that progress, it sort of feel like I'm tangentially involved in all their lives, but maybe just at one unique point here, but I still follow it continuously. So I think that's the most rewarding part.
My name is Liz Mosley, and my students call me Dr. Liz. And my parents were teachers. My grandmother was a teacher, so it was a genetic thing or a family thing, but I grew up talking about teaching, and it's just been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. The thing that I love the most is when you see the light go on in a student's eyes and they say, "Oh, so what you mean is," and then they say that thing that you've been trying to tell them for 3 months. I love that. I love it when it connects. I love lighting that fire and lighting the curiosity so that they can ask interesting questions. I use a Socratic method a lot, where I ask questions that they don't necessarily know the answers to, but we explore what they do know. We explore what they've heard, what they think, what they guess, and then that eases us into the material. I rarely use PowerPoints. I do use the board a lot. I draw mind maps or other kind of visual representations of what we're talking about. But otherwise, I pace around a lot, and I interact a lot with the students in class. What did they do? They actually filtered out 10% of someone's newsfeed for a week. I think the role of the teacher is to open up a student's mind so that they will ask questions. The most important thing for a student to learn is that they don't know everything and that they never will, and that there's always another question to ask. If a student leaves your class feeling like they know everything about the subject, you haven't done your job. Community college is really my favorite environment, period. I love community college because you have such a diversity of students, and you have those strong ties to the community that I think are so important. Community colleges is where I would be even if I was not in Pensacola. I would be in a community college somewhere. What brought me to Pensacola was that I was going through a transitional period in my life, and I had a cousin living in Orange Beach, and she said, "Come on down here and have a look at the Gulf Coast." And I did, and while I was visiting her, I drove up to Pensacola State and walked around campus and talked to people, and it was such a welcoming environment that I felt very happy to come here.
And that's going to do it for this edition of Pensacola State Today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Drexel Gilbert. We'll see you next time.